Spellcaster Studios presents
Meet the Character!
Episode 1.
Ruby Rebel! Begin!
Now, before she gained her persona as Ruby Rebel, we might need to jump back a bit. That's right, it's time for a
flashback!
Now, before Ruby Rebel was created and was the sickest character I've made in Spellcaster Studios history, she used to go by the name of Ruby Reed. A young village girl who was also an orphan and would do errands for the town if so fit. Although Ruby was a powerless village orphan, she also had an enemy. That would be Ezekiel Anders, one of the most powerful, rich, and corrupt people you could ever meet. Ruby held a big grudge with Ezekiel for the years to come. In fact, she still does to this day. Most notably for Ezekiel calling her a reject and saying that's all she'll ever be, with no family, no powers, or anything to defend herself. When Ruby heard that, she took it to heart, but she wasn't giving up. And at that moment, Ruby met Jonah. Though we are going to talk about him more in another video. But what we can tell you about him is that this is Ruby's childhood friend, and possibly lover. Him and Ruby have been through thick and thin together throughout the whole entire series. But now, let's skip ahead a bit.
Fast forward!
So, you know Ruby was from a village and an orphan. Cool. And you know that her greatest enemy is Ezekiel and her closest friend is Jonah. Also cool. But now is where things get interesting. As Ruby thinks about what Ezekiel has said to her, she goes from this to this. That's right, baby. She's got a weapon. But it isn't just some ordinary weapon. That weapon is nicknamed Guts, a half chainsaw, half sword hybrid that she has created herself. This weapon is valuable to her and served her in many battles throughout her life. But like all heroes, Ruby comes to a realization. She realized that the village was too small and that there's barely anyone to protect. And that's when Ruby goes from the village to the city of Metroview. At this point, Ruby has reached her current age of 18. But this time, she wasn't alone. As we get introduced to Metroview, we also get introduced to the Rejects. Now yeah, I know, the name sounds pretty harsh, but don't let that fool you. Ruby knows how to pick a team, and she's picked her team well. As we got in heroes like Jonah, Aaron, Rose, and Fable, just to name a few. And as Ruby has been fighting with her rejects, monster after monster after monster, Ruby and the Rebels have become Metroview's local heroes and protectors. So there, now you're all caught up with who Ruby Rebel is. But there's still a lot I have left out. Like, what does Ezekiel want with Ruby? Does Ruby actually get powers? Does Ruby have any long-lost siblings? And most importantly, is Ruby and Jonah's relationship more than just friends? Find out all that and more on the next episode of
Meet the Character!
And stay tuned for Ruby Rebel and the Rejects as an animated series. Okay, bye!